Hi, everyone. This is Dave Warner with Small Town Life, and today it's nothing but cheese. I get to say that once a year. We're going to talk about the Cheese Festival in Little Falls coming up on October 5th. And with us today, we've got some guests, including someone from Team Cheese. So, Jeremiah, I'm going to start with you. Tell me why you're masked up, why you look like somebody who I'd find in an alley.
So I'm Jeremiah Timmins. I'm the head cheesemaker here at Old Chatham Creamery. So I'm in the process of making a batch of cheese. So I need all the protective gear to make sure I don't contaminate the cheese and make sure that the cheese is good.
You know,
Um,
we should have put a camera on you, had you do a walkthrough, but that's another time.
yeah. But yeah, I'm here on behalf of the New York State Cheese Council today. We're planning a fun event preceding the Little Falls Cheese Festival.
Okay. And we'll get into that in a little bit. Rachel, how about you? Who are you?
Hi, my name is Rachel Banks. I am the cheesemaker. I work as the cheesemaker developing recipes for a company out near Buffalo in East Aurora called Ordinary Farmstead. And I am the founder of the New York State Cheese Council.
Oh, wow. All right. And Teri, locals know you, love you, and your dog, and pie.
Yes.
But go ahead, tell us who you are.
I'm representing Team Cheese today. Team Cheese is what the Little Falls Cheese Festival Planning Committee calls ourselves because we really are a team. We're a democracy. I'm not in charge of the Cheese Festival. I'm just here to represent the Cheese Festival in general and answer any questions you folks may have about it.
Okay. Well, with that, Teri, tell us a little bit about the history of cheese, because some people listening to this are not going to know why we're talking cheese today and why we're talking Little Falls.
Okay, so if you've never been to Little Falls, you may not realize that it has to be the place where the Cheese Festival is, because we have a historic building that you can actually visit when you're here. You can walk right past it when you get off the shuttle bus. It was a bank, and in the late 1800s, Little Falls, then as now, was surrounded by dairy farms, and they set the price of cheese throughout the world. Stuff, cheese wheels went over onto the Erie Canal, which flows through town, and went out to the world. The prices were set and sent out, debated and sent out, not just through the United States, but apparently the world. And so that's why the Cheese Festival is in Little Falls and not, say, in one of our neighboring towns. And it's also a beautiful place to have a festival. It's a beautiful town, a beautiful location. We have some interesting, those panels you see when you walk by on the street, historical information panels that explain the cheese history. For those who are interested, you can also stop in that former bank building, which is now the Little Falls Historical Society, and learn more. There's also going to be a talk on Cheese Festival Day. I think it's at 1:30 in the afternoon at the Historical Society about the cheese history of Little Falls. But
So how did the festival get started? I mean,
well, I wasn't on
yes.
Team Cheese from the very start. I was drafted. A friend of mine left and said, "Would you like to take my spot?" It's not all that time consuming. Ha ha. We're in our 9th year. It got started 9 years ago by a couple of people who were aware of the cheese history and said, "Why don't we do this?" If they'd known then what we know now, they might have been very daunted. It's a lot of work to put the festival together. It's completely nonprofit and completely volunteer run. It's become the largest cheese festival, not just in New York State, but in the Northeast. It's
Wow.
huge. It has exceeded its founders' expectations, I'm sure.
And what, last year, size wise, where is it? How much space does it take up? How many vendors? How many people come? Give us kind of a sense of that.
Okay, in our town, we have an east-west Main Street, and the police department allows us to close it to traffic for the day. 5 long blocks of vendors. I think this year we have 65 vendors, more than ever. That is a lot of vendors. It's not 100% cheese. There's a lot of really good New York State cheese, but there's some craft beverages to go with, and maybe you need a baguette or some chocolate or some figgy jam or salsa. There's all kinds. It is a foodie paradise.
Awesome. And how many people were attended
Oh, right,
last
you
year?
did ask that. Okay,
I did
it's
ask
grown
that.
every year. And the first year, it was hard to get vendors. They were skeptical, and they sold out by 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Now, as I say, we've grown from say 20 vendors to 65, and if you build it, they will come. I think we've hit 10,000 people over the course of the day in recent years.
Yeah.
And so we have had to try to figure out how to manage crowds like that. Luckily, our main street is roomy and we can space the booths, nice distances apart, and people come and go throughout the day. We have a food truck food court sort of off to the side in a bank parking lot where you can take a little break, revive yourself with a snack or a coffee drink, and then continue exploring the festival. So we can handle the crowds if they come, steadily instead of all at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Rachel, tell me a little bit about the New York State Cheese Council and why you started that.
Well, the New York State Cheese Council currently has just shy of 90 members, I would say. We started it. I first sort of began thinking about this when during COVID we lost my maternal grandmother. My maternal grandparents owned a farm in Bloomingburg, New York, in an area that has since been completely taken over. All are now high-rise condos that are second homes for people from New York City. So it has since been leveled. The whole community is gone. And then my mother started shipping me things from my grandma's farm. Everybody was home during the pandemic, so I learned to make cheese and somehow found myself in a job at a creamery that's building. And I began to understand the difficulties that small farms and creameries face getting started and keeping going. So, in conversations with people, for example, I was on another nonprofit, and I still am on the board of Meeting of the Milkmaids, which is women professionals in cheese. And the founder of that encouraged me. She said, at this next conference, you're just going to hand out something asking people who are interested in being part of a council. Yeah, you can, and you get it done. So I did that, and something incredible happened, which is that the people that work in cheese are very generous with their time. And so we had some very notable people sign on, like Blue Run Dairy, the Curd Nerd in Syracuse, Eden Valley, Saxelby Cheese. And we said, let's get people together and have a conversation and see if we have something here. So 35 of us met informally. We reached out to the Little Falls Cheese Committee, to Susie from Jones Family Farm, and they helped us find a venue. Super generous to everybody in the town. We got together. We said, indeed, we have something here. And fast forward a year later, we are filed with the state and the federal government. We've got corporate sponsorship monies coming in, and we're starting to make a difference.
So what do you see the organization doing to help in that space?
Well, so our mission is to strengthen the New York State cheese community through education, outreach, and awareness. So we see when we speak to producers. There are around 60 cheese producers, I would say, in the state that we've been in contact with. What we see when we speak to producers is that they struggle with market awareness. That's a big one. A lot of people in New York, though the festival has done wonders for us, those that do not get to attend the festival maybe can name 4 or 5 cheese makers within the state, when in reality, we have quite the diversity there. There are troubles in distribution. There are troubles with understanding and navigating the regulation and the food safety requirements to get up and going. And so we seek to help with all of that, to reach into communities and provide resources for the makers who are getting started and those who are up and running. So,
Jeremiah, you see
Can I
this
just-
from.
Can
Yeah,
I
go
just-
ahead, Terry. Yeah.
I just wanted to add to that and say that it's sort of you're riding the wave. Your timing is really good because it's a renaissance here in New York of cheesemaking. There's more and more cheesemakers. So thank you.
Thank you. We truly, the Little Falls Cheese Festival Committee has been invaluable. Our 2 organizations work pretty closely with one another, and I think for the foreseeable future, as long as I can see into the future, we're going to try to make it a weekend event for people, a reason to come into town, come for the cheese festival. Now we're adding the event that Jeremiah is spearheading at Rock Valley, where we're going to have a guided cheese tasting. But then we get down to business and start working on helping the state the next day at our conference. And it truly is such a wonderful weekend for our members and hopefully the general public too.
Jeremiah, you're wearing 2 hats there, and literally one of them is you're part of the council and you have a role there, but you're also a cheesemaker. So I want 2 answers first about, your role in the council and how that helps you as a cheesemaker, and then get into the event that we talked about that we're having here.
So right now the Cheese Council is really helping the creamery with like advertising, getting us out in the public. In the future, there will be like help with the state and the guidelines for that. And then, so for the event that we'll be doing, it's going to be a guided tasting hosted at Rock Valley Brewing Company. So people are going to get their own personal charcuterie board, and I'll go through with them each item on there and pairings to go with the items. And they can try all these New York made cheeses and accoutrements to go with it. It's mostly going to be highlighting the vendors that are at the Little Falls Cheese Festival. So if you come back next year, you'll be able to already have an idea of kind of the stuff that you want to purchase. We'll also be hosting a raffle, and there's going to be a couple of homemade items that are specially made just for this event.
So, Teri, the Cheese Festival goes from 10 to 5, and this event follows that, correct?
Right. We're calling it the after party. The festival, the 5 blocks of the festival is definitely a party. But people have a great time, and Little Falls is such a beautiful little place, with the cliffs on both sides, and it'll be autumn, so the fall foliage will probably be getting underway. And people are reluctant to leave, and going to the party that the after party that Jeremiah has put together. It's at 5:30 right after the festival closes, and then it'll probably last about an hour. Correct, Jeremiah? About an hour.
Yeah.
Right. And then after that, you can go out to dinner, or go lay on the grass in the lawn and put your paws in the air because you're saturated with cheese and drinks.
I just had a visual of that, Teri. Please.
Right. But I think that Jeremiah's event is going to be really fun, but also very educational. People are coming to the Cheese Festival to learn. Cheese education is very important. Most of us know New York State sharp cheddar cheese and maybe brie. And believe me, there is so much more to cheese than those 2 things. And having someone of Jeremiah's knowledge and enthusiasm to guide you through it would be really an opportunity and a lot of fun.
Yeah. And Rock Valley Brewing Company is only just really a couple of blocks off of Main Street. So it's not, you can actually walk down to the brewery after you're done with the festival. And so it's very convenient and very easy to get to, correct?
Yes, it's right. It's it's a pretty walk. Maybe you'll feel like you need a little exercise. And the brewery was an old decrepit mill building when Mike George took it over and renovated it. And if you've never seen it, if you've never been to Little Falls, it is a remarkable renovation. It's a little bit rustic, but very classy. It's got high ceilings. The front doors open out into a view of the Mohawk River rushing through town. It's just a fabulous spot. Very attractive, very fun. It's really going to be a treat just to be in there and have his, go to his bar. But there, going to get your own private charcuterie plate and Jeremiah explaining things to you is going to be a real treat. I would recommend anybody considering this, buy your tickets in advance.
And where can they find those tickets, by the way?
Off of that?
Yeah, hold on. Terry, where can we get the tickets?
I'm going to let them answer that.
Okay. All right. Rachel, I was going to get to you
I can
next
answer
anyway.
that.
So, all right.
It's cheese-encore.eventbrite.com.
Okay.
Is
All right.
that?
And I will put that across the screen so everybody can see that. And you're,
And I would just like, ooh, sorry.
go ahead. All right. We got a delay all of a sudden.
I would just like to add to that because I don't think Jeremiah will. He has an incredible palate. And I think something that when you speak to other folks who are not in cheese are often intimidated by when they walk into a shop is understanding the flavors, understanding when cheese is at its peak ripeness, how it changes over time, and how sometimes pairing an item can really change how it tastes. And to have someone like Jeremiah, who is honestly completely brilliant when it comes to that, is invaluable. So it's worth every cent of that ticket. So.
Yeah. So you're also having your meeting too. The next day you talked about, you had done that last year in Dolgeville at Tiffany's place, her event center. Tell me about the next day.
So the next day, our guests or our members, if you will, arrive at Creative Designs by Tiffany's, which is this gorgeous repurposed church. She's also a florist. Everything is beautiful. And we provide lunch from Southern Girl Diner, also a local business. They're phenomenal. And our conference attendees this year, we've made so much progress since last year. We're already starting to forecast into the coming fiscal year, discuss our incoming corporate sponsorship funds, as well as unveil some plans that our regulatory committee has to sort of collect data and try to understand common pain points within the state so that we can help producers move past them. And then we are going to have a guided networking session, followed by a lovely social hour in which people can enjoy cheeses from throughout New York State. So.
And if somebody wanted to join the Cheese Council, if they hadn't heard about it yet, how would they go about doing that?
So as of right now, because we're fairly new, we don't have any membership fees. That will change. So what you would do if you wanted to join the council would be to email New York State Cheese Council, all spelled out, at gmail.com. If you wanted to purchase a ticket to our event, you would go to NYSCC, New York State Cheese Council, Fall 2024, 2024 at eventbrite.com. So.
Okay. All right. Got it. And Terry, well, I want to go travel back to the Cheese Festival itself and explain a little bit more this year. If I'm walking down the street, walk me through the experience.
Oh, it's so much fun. So let me just emphasize, when you arrive, do not drive into Little Falls because Main Street is closed for 5 blocks and downtown is unnavigable. And if you park in the grocery store parking lot, they will come out and club you with a zucchini. So take the shuttle bus.
You're actually correct on that. Yes.
Right. Take the shuttle buses as you arrive from Little Falls. There will be signage directing you to the shuttle lots. It's all free. The shuttle buses run all day long as needed. They're not even on a schedule. They just fill up the bus and take you right to the festival. Very short ride, 5 minutes or less. So when you arrive and disembark from the shuttle bus, you'll be at one end of the festival or the other. So you can start at booth 1 and go to booth 65, or you can start at booth 65 and go to booth 1. You may recall earlier in this podcast, I mentioned that we have a food truck food court. That's about halfway through. You're going to maybe need a break, or you can go into one of our cafes or pubs or restaurants and take a break because this takes energy and stamina and enthusiasm because it's amazing. It's amazing. The booths, our vendors have very attractive booths, so it's pretty to look at. It's like you look down from one end and you just see a line of booths snaking off into the misty distance. Things smell good, the smell of roasting candied nuts. The vendors are sampling things. So if you want to try a little bit of a blackcurrant liqueur or New York State wine, of course, sample cheeses. That will help you learn a little bit. Don't linger too long because other people are in line behind you. But it's a really great opportunity to uh, meet the people who make the cheese and buy directly from them. For those of us who like to support farmers and small producers, there's no middleman on the day of the cheese festival. You are dealing with the person who made the cheese and knows all about it. So I would come with an eager, open mind and a cooler. And
Yeah,
I
the
would also,
cooler is important, right?
right. We also will have cooler bags for sale. Actually, our friends at the New York State Cheese Council have a booth about midway through the festival. So
Rachel's waving like, buy
yeah,
our cooler
yeah,
bags.
yeah. Well, you may need them.
They
Yeah,
don't go
it's
to us. That goes to the festival, but we're happy to.
right. Yes.
Yeah.
And we're not selling them to make a profit. We're selling them to, make sure that you can keep your purchases cool. There's
Right, right.
also we got a grant from the New York State Arts Council, Central New York Arts Council for music. And the guy who curated our music is a jazz guitarist and has beautiful taste. And there's going to be music all day long. So it's a really festive, uh, fragrant, delicious experience. It's a foodie paradise. It's going to be completely amazing. You'll have so much fun. I promise you, there's nothing like it.
Do you have anything new this year that wasn't there last year?
Well, I think we have a lot more music than we did
Okay.
last year, including, oh my gosh, the food truck food court at lunchtime is going to have a rockabilly band.
Oh, really? Oh,
I'm
that'll
all
be
about
cool.
that. Get me my barbecue and my rockabilly band, and then I'll dance back to Main Street afterwards. We've
This
also
I gotta film.
yes, right. And there's folk music and jazz and bluegrass and things like that. It's really, really fun, well curated. The festival is about 6 booths longer than it has been in the past. We added a few new. I think one vendor I'd like to mention that we've never had before is we're going to have a vegan cheesemaker. We had requests for that. Those of you who are vegans will be very happy about this. Those of you who are not vegans may be skeptical, but I'm telling you, stop by and try it. You might be amazed. It's made with nut milk.
Mm.
So that's kind of interesting. We have really awesome gourmet baked goods because, things go with cheese.
Yep.
The pickle man, who is a cult figure, will
Oh,
be
he
back.
is. Oh my
He
God.
is.
Yeah.
I've had people run into people mid-festival who rush up to me when they see that I'm wearing a vest and have a walkie-talkie and say, "Where's the pickle man?" I'm like, "This is a cheese festival." And they're like, "Yes, I know, but where's the pickle man?"
I know,
So,
Terry, have you ever thought of a pickle festival?
no, no,
No,
no, no.
no.
Our heads would blow up.
Yeah,
But I don't tell them where the pickle man is because it's like a scavenger hunt. You
it
really
is.
take your time and work your way through the festival. A pro tip I would give people who are coming to the festival, besides bringing a cooler or buying a cooler bag, is it's a good idea to bring cash actually. And of course, run through it. But there are ATMs, but that just makes your transactions go faster.
Yeah. And some of the vendors do take credit cards though, right?
Oh, of course, and some
Yeah.
take Venmo and all that.
Yeah, it's just
But
easier with the
But
cash. Yeah.
cash is a lot easier, so that's just one little tip I would give people. The other tip I would give people is if you want to go to Jeremiah's after party, uh, again, I repeat, buy the tickets in advance before it sells out, but you could still go and show up at the door without a ticket. It would just cost $5 more.
Okay. All right. And what is the cost? Well, I don't think we mentioned that.
$20, and it will include both your charcuterie board and a drink.
So $20 pre-order and 25. Yeah, that is
At
you,
the-
Jeremiah. I'll mute you just to keep you off. We just won't talk to you anymore. I think it's the reverb off of that mask. You get all that hair on your face and then you get a mask and it's bouncing around. That's why we're getting that feedback.
I thought maybe it was the sound of cheese being made.
Well, I don't know if I'd want to
Yeah.
eat it if it sounded like that. So
I don't
Rachel,
think it makes that noise.
yeah. No, I don't think so. Rachel, have we missed anything from your angle?
I'm pretty sure I've done that before.
Yeah.
So were you asking me the price? The price is $20 in advance. It includes a drink and your curated charcuterie board with the tasting that's guided by Jeremiah. If you show up at the door, it'll be $25.
Okay. All right. Have we missed anything else?
I don't think so. I just think we need to emphasize that it's free shuttle parking and free admission.
And it's rain or shine.
And it's rain or shine, and it's going to be a blast. It's going to be foodie paradise. You will just be dancing down Main Street from booth to booth with a big
All
smile on your face, throwing cash around and laughing with your friends. And it,
right.
it's amazing. It's such an amazing foodie festival. I've been to other festivals that have things other than food. This is 100% food, really,
Yeah.
except for a few people who are selling charcuterie boards. But it's just
Or the alcohol that keeps the edge off at 10 a.m.
That's also very curated. Let me just emphasize again, every vendor is a New York State producer, not just the New York State cheeses. We are really, and the musicians are all local and regional New York State performers. This is a New York State festival. We have had cheesemakers from Vermont and Wisconsin beg to get into our festival now that we've gotten so big and popular, and we've turned them away. We are proud of the New York State cheesemakers, and we want to support them, and we want everybody to learn about them and love them as much as we do.
Well, I think it's going to be an awesome day, regardless of the weather. Like you say, the foliage and everything, it's going to be beautiful. Little Falls is a beautiful city, great location. Having that main street like that, where you can just, and I'm going to put some imagery over this so people can see it when they watch this. So it's a beautiful spot to have a festival.
We can't wait. We're so excited.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for coming on today. And for everybody who's watching, we're going to see you next time on Small Town Life.